What it do, chooms? Welcome to SPACEJB. I am your distraction-hating, full Borg body sporting, no nonsense taking madman, Space Smasher, and thank y'all for clicking this video. Choombas, we are in the last stretch towards finally getting our non-early access privileged peasant game in hands on the most talked about expansion of 2023 in Phantom Liberty. After the latest Night City wire that was packed with mo things in a Costco pot pie, and a new official trailer for it starring my imaginary Hollywood dad, DJ Solomon Elba, just released, and the trailer was Nova. Two questions still remain though. Will it be worth the cost to first timers? And for us veterans, should we start a whole new character? And in this video, I hope to help all of you answer those for yourselves, giving my opinions on why Cyberpunk 2077 just might warrant a second chance, and how this launch may call for an entire new playthrough. Take Papa Space's gorilla armed hand, my merc babies, as I guide you towards the neon lights, gunfire, and flames. So let's cook up those engines, and let's take off.
Thank God you made it.
Can you really afford distractions now?
Patch 2.0 is less than a week away, and with all of the hype, hoopla, deets, and skepticism surrounding CDPR's journey back to re-establishing this title as one of the best RPGs ever, even with all of the specs and showcases, there are still some gamers who played the early version of Cyberpunk being justifiably a hot LZ of a topic to talk about. Gamers are still concerned, and with our display of disdain, leaving others who may have heard us upset fans talk badly about the game would go ahead and just write it off. With its rep once again on the line, this has to be a bullseye for the development team and needs to leave us brain potatoes craving more after the first hit. Not like that. Yet, once this update drops, we fans will lose our minds being treated to a whole new, reworked, chromed out base game. Before the latest Night City wire, we were already told that devs were basically revamping major cornerstones that we already know were not the best from its infamous debut.
It was bad. It had nothing, no fire, no energy, no nothing.
Over time, it has been patched up majorly to this point, which has kept the game selling despite its less than stellar release. And I've always been a big fan of it, though I've had my criticisms. Fundamental aspects of the game such as the skill tree, combat, and policing system in Night City have all been given new breaths of life, and not only look different, but will have stark differences in the way it alters your builds and the world of Night City around your character. The NCPD has been buffed up to a few levels.
It's over 9,000.
These NPCs aren't all just dumb minor threats for us to build up our body count on anymore. Cops will be smarter when trying to stop V, with everything from basic 1 to 2 man searching units to full-on police barricades and a hailstorm of bullets to put an end to the best merc in Night City. Max Tech is also given its final form for these cell games when V hits the highest wanted level. From the lore, we know how dangerous and damn near unstoppable this force is. They are, in my opinion, every version that V could beat, cranked up to the max and all put on the same team. This may have some of us players simply making builds that can be the immovable object to cancel out Max Tech's force, which for those of us who are crazy enough will be going toe-to-toes with these hounds plenty. With the expansion comes a whole new policing force in the Barghest militia of Dogtown. This group is said to be that line between Max Tech and the NCPD that polices the lawless area ran by Kurt Hansen. This brings way more to the realm of foes, as we have more than just NCPD and some simple gangs, so my advice to all is to stay dangerous. Do not let the enemies catch you lacking in hopes to walk you down and zero you. Not only will our original simple gangs be more formidable, this will allow new players to enjoy a more realistic experience when going on a wide rampage or just cruising the streets of Night City. Y'all know your boy Space is gonna double up on that black lace and a little bit of that esquif together just to get through the night. In the latest Night City wire, my favorite name in the gaming industry, Gabriel Amantangelo, was on with Thor's cousin to discuss gameplay changes from the world around you to the attributes that will help your character build theme, and playstyle be a huge part of the immersion into the visceral world of Night City. He mentioned that the spirit of Cyberpunk has really changed.
So I'd like to start with kind of just saying the spirit of it and what was the drive behind it.
Yeah, for some of us, we may be getting some real Todd Howard vibes, and though other NC natives may want better graphics, more missions, a more immersive or dynamic world, if the creative team is given the tools and time without hiccups like COVID and other setbacks, I can enjoy a game that itself has a passionate team who loves what they are working on and have those vibrations shine throughout the entire project. With the new upgrades to the skill tree and perks, your playstyle, the things you choose in your build, and how you use them really takes me back to how important building your character was in the tabletop RPG. Now giving us the entire reworked skill tree and perks that are more action based for us to mix together to create our best version of V.
Basically change the perks around. Like, I mean, there's stat increases and stuff like that, which is always fun in progression, you know, getting incrementally more powerful, but we really focus it on the actions, the things you can do.
The Phantom Liberty expansion will finally give us players access to the Relic that we have had as useless space the entire base game.
So the Relic tree essentially enhances various different cyberware. That's kind of the theme of it. And the way that you're able to, she helps you unlock some of it, this skill tree opens up, but the way you're able to unlock more potential of it, basically get the points that you can spend for more stuff, is by finding Militech data terminals throughout Dogtown.
And after the first launch, these mechanics seem to have been drastically downsized with the lackluster creating system and cut down to the stats only being based on what clothes you were wearing. Finally getting access to this paperweight of a chip that we inserted into our heads to fulfill the dying wish of our best friend will be preem. Thanks to Songbird's crazy hacking abilities, V will be given access to this piece of hardware. With everything we have learned so far, we can now see what the full potential of the Relic is outside of housing the engram of the rocker boy Johnny Silverhand. This thing is going to make any version of V we make even more of a monster than they already were. V was already pretty much invincible. Not that one, Gonk, but something like that in Night City. Gabriel Almonteangelo mentioned that us gamers who have these super soldier, undetectable hackers, or even brute tank fantasies can now get our fills with the ways we can build our characters.
In the Cyberpunk IP, and when you think about the dark future and cyberware, there's different kind of like super soldier or super merc kind of fantasies you have in your mind. And we wanted players to be able to realize that and play it and feel it.
And with these will come some nerfs that makes how V face enemies something you will have to give more thought to. You won't be able to just spam hacks on your enemies or survive a hell of bullets like Rambo if your build isn't meant to without risking those buttery cyber biscuits. This gives me hope that being a merc from day to day will be more enjoyable and giving us more of a challenge when roaming the streets. I've been talking about it throughout this entire video, but let's just go ahead and dive deeper into the latest Night City wire and all the goodies we were given for what's to come over the next 2 weeks. Starting with the new Phantom Liberty official trailer that in my opinion was one of the best short cinematic trailers I have ever seen. The action was spot on, and it was a great introduction into the 3 of the 4 main characters in the expansion. Watching Reed realize he was betrayed was devastating. Thinking he was almost out, yet seeing those 2 agents show up and seemingly decommission him after working the first 3. Learning his motives could be a map with a million different paths that could lead to us turning against him down the line, or joining up with his cause. This just has me scratching my head on how he managed to escape that situation, and looking forward to unfolding his story during the playthrough.
I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for you.
Another character that we got a lot of information about is Songmi, aka Songbird. This top tier hacker has a seat right next to the current NUSA president Rosalind Myers. Coming off the back of betraying one of her closest friends, if not father-like figure, has to weigh on her something heavy. And you can kind of see that transition in emotion when you watch the new trailer. To figure out her motives and how she operates is another reason why this expansion is going to deliver some of the best spy espionage style gameplay around. Another question your boy Space has is how the fuck does the current president Rosalind Myers' ship fail to detect a missile that was launched from Earthside? The layers of knowing who the hell to trust just keeps getting thicker. Finding out if this is all an inside job put on by Rosalind Myers just to boot up her unification plan, or if Kurt is really responsible for all of this mayhem, is worth another boot up of the game itself, especially for lore lovers like us. This espionage story I'm sure was inspired and influenced by things like James Bond, Total Recall, and Mission Impossible. Speaking of 007, Idris Elba says that there was an Easter egg somewhere in this frame.
For anyone who's really looking at this frame, there's a big Easter egg. Look for it. It's there, it's in the frame, but it's a big Easter egg. That's all I'm saying.
Is it the DJ 007 imagery behind him, or am I just too stupid to find out the real clue? Wait, don't answer that part. Instead, do Big Papa Space a different favor. If you like this type of content, or are just a huge Cyberpunk fan like I am, don't forget to overclock that like button and turn on the notification bells after subscribing to the channel, because we are less than 200 subscribers from that 1K mark, and I appreciate all your support. Now back to the video. Getting a little more backstory into Solomon Reed and Somi's relationship was an absolute joy during the trailer, and to me, I theorized that this could be how the government was already playing their hands and taking out Reed due to all he knows from his missions working for the FIA. The details are still left to be uncovered, as well as the actual scale of Dogtown, and more information about the man who's ruling it with an iron fist in Kurt Hansen. We do know that there is as much Johnny Silverhand crammed into the expansion as there was in the entire base game, which to me sounds like they damn near added a second game with Phantom Liberty. For veterans who stuck with the game, we deserve this content after all that we have been through. And for new players, this will be an absolute treat, as y'all will be welcomed into what Cyberpunk was supposed to be and given an extra content without any missing pieces. Outside of that, for us atmosphere lovers, there will be new radio stations, one being Growl FM, that is a mashup of different tracks created and put together by the community. Another station is Darkstar, which is one I know I will be listening to, as it is described as the soundtrack to the dark and moody dystopian future that is Cyberpunk.
We wanted to create a station that combines music from around the world. So think of it as a world music of dark dystopian future.
Last but not least, there is Impulse Radio that will be similar to Nina Kravitz's Samis Radio, but will be comprised of unreleased Idris Elba DJ tracks. I'm all in. Music is a huge part of games to me, as I'm sure it is to other players, and when trying to feel a part of a created world can tie me to the time period and vibe of the surrounding world. Trust me when I say that I will be just cruising in first person, jamming the radio, or hours of playing them in my apartment. Hell, your boy Space may have moments where driving around with the radio up is all I do, and you're damn right, I'll be riding pretty dirty. With the new skill tree, character build system, and combat, let's talk about the different build styles that were showcased during the Night City Wire. The three we were shown were Bullet Time Ninja, Hack and Slash Netrunner, and finally the Savage Slugger solo build. The Bullet Time Ninja is your merc that uses speed and precision to move faster than your enemies can even perceive. You can even deflect bullets with your katana, as well as allowing you to quickly attack, dismember your enemies before quickly changing to the next target no matter where they are located, making the kill zone almost limitless. Popping your Sandy open to slow down time allows for more cool highlights and prolonged action. In this case, using an Air Koreznikov is a sure way to slow down time and create more mayhem. It's good to make those gonks suffer. It's hard to hit what you can't see, and in this case, you can always bring a blade to a gunfight knowing you have the upper edge. Cause what good would their gun be when you can just chop off their hand before they even pull the trigger? Next is the Hack and Slash Ninja.
My favorite.
And with this build, your brain is your best friend. Using hack combos, weapons, and the upgraded mono wire, your enemies will be destroyed without you ever having to lay a finger on them. The ability to hack cars and use them as distractions or even bombs adds way more to the style your character displays when hacking. Getting a new quick hack queue allows netrunners to stack hacks on enemies with ease, taking away the need to just go ahead and spam them over and over again. Gaining access to the overclock ability gives V the power to cause more mayhem with their hacks at the sacrifice of their own health. Even with the mono wire is finally more useful, not only just slashing limbs off, but can now be used to upload hacks upon contact, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that supposed to be a day one feature? The last build combo they showed was the Savage Slugger solo, which this combo of skills and chrome, you will basically be a tank slamming it on, destroying everything around you. Getting up close and personal with enemies will be the best strategic move for you, yet will spell death for all of them. This porky merc is using the heaviest weapons and strengths to wreak havoc on anyone in your path. Just because you use this class doesn't mean you can't move.
The reflexes of a cat and the speed of a mongoose.
It's not your strong suit, yet the ability to build a fast tank is very possible. You get the perks that allow you to maximize damage or pick up and yeet your enemies across the block or into other gonks looking for the smoke. With all of these treats, we can build whatever combo of mercs we want. You can have a Savage Hacker or a Bullet Time Slugger. The possibilities for us to create the exact version of V we like to imagine ourselves as will finally be available without needing mods or a souped up PC. Though if you got one, flaunt it, because it's just gonna make the game so much better. With buffs and nerfs to the capabilities of V, as some things will cost your life as you use it, as well as a form of cyberpsychosis building up, will regulate how, why you choose the perks and abilities, as well as the cyberware that you implant are going to be way more important to this game's story, which only gives players new and old more reason to care about V. From top to bottom, this game has been through the mud, that one blender trap from Saw 50, and has still managed to escape Davy Jones' locker, and in my mind is presenting itself as the comeback story of the decade. There hasn't been much talk about if this update will be giving us more simple immersion bits. There also hasn't been much info on if we will get more tattoos, hairstyles, or other creative options that are basically nitpicking features from a huge fan of the game. We do get a list from Cyberpunk in the trailer that says 100 plus new items, weapons, cyberware, and fashion, and yet what those new items are left for us to discover. The real big factor of the original launch, or lack thereof I should say, that crushed this game during its debut, like the failed policing system, lack of depth in the story, pointless skill tree, action features that we were supposed to get like vehicle combat, more dynamic combat, and bugs are fortunately the big things this creative team have put in their sights and possibly nailed it to give us Cyberpunk fans the reworked base game we originally paid plenty of eddies for. Some of us even needed therapy after what CDPR did to us.
And then I looked at my uncle and...
let me guess. He died?
For the ones who have never played the game, no matter the reasons, can now easily, and is truly the best version of the game thus far. It will be available in less than a week. The Phantom Liberty expansion not only gives us Idris Elba as a character in the world of Cyberpunk, I also have to tip my hat to Cyberpunk's universe and to V's story, as there could be a way to save them from death due to the Relic chip. The possibility to save V as an ending, I would love to see. Given its flaws, I have to say, as pissed off as I originally was, I am glad that I stuck it out with this game to see and play all of the changes that have been made thus far, which in my opinion is a pretty damn great RPG. Big ups to the huge modding community, because humbly, I say without y'all, this game would have surely died. The way it's looking could put it as one of the best games out, best comeback stories in gaming history, and possibly put it as a top 5 best RPG, or at least the main line you'll either be hearing about or enjoying for yourselves over the next few months. It is unfortunate that it is going to cost us vets Yet if they can deliver on the things we have been shown for the 2.0 update on the 21st and expansion on the 26th, I am not saying all will be forgotten, yet your net running Captain Space can start to forgive as I enjoy one of the best games out. Everything aside, when the game first launched, I was pretty pissed off at the state of the game. All of the broken promises that were seemingly had were just absurd. I couldn't believe they could have released a game in that state. Just showing a little empathy towards the cause, I'm glad that I stuck it out, because over the years, this game has made some massive improvements, and honestly, I would recommend the game to anybody at this point. And given the extra content, I don't see what us vets really have to lose. It's $30 and it's Idris Elba. Pretty much all I got to say. In my opinion, it is well worth creating a whole new build or even multiple builds. Everything they are giving us in the base game to aid in building your character's playstyle and to see how the life of this game has been polished, seeing the new dialogue options and new characters experience the new V will be a spectacle. For new players, I understand the caution of how the game first launched, but since then, the game has sold over 10 million copies. And if they can meet 80% of the promises with these 2 launches, it will sell another 5 mil easily. The action, story lore, combat, visual pleasing world, and the futuristic technologically advanced goodies, I can't help but to say, if it's your style of game and you've had even an iota of thought to try it, the time is in 2 weeks. There are bundles with great deals for combos to take advantage of, which would in the grand scale make it less than what us vets are paying. So you're getting a hell of a deal no matter which way you're looking at it. And once again, I get to leave it up to you, my cybernautic chooms. What do y'all think about this game? Will it be worth the cost? And can this game be redeemed? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, expressing your emotions to your friends, partner, or family doesn't make you weak, just as burying it all inside doesn't make you strong. Knowing how, when, and who to comfortably and safely express your emotions to is the big challenge and part of life. So, make sure you trust those around you, and if you don't, look at some other avenues or some other modalities to go ahead and comfortably learn how to express yourself. I like BetterHelp, and this is not a sponsor. It's just me being honest with y'all. Much love to each and every one of y'all, and I look forward to catching y'all on my next video. Thank y'all again for rocking with your boy. Let's go ahead and end transmission. And I'm out. Peace.